Hello and welcome to another episode of Soap Goes to the Oscars. This is episode 23. I'm recording on April 22nd, 2024. I've just watched Five Star Final, and this was available when I first looked it up. It was available on Turner Classic Movies, which I could have watched for free and should have. But when I went to watch it this morning, it was no longer available there, so I had to rent it on Amazon. But I had some credits, so it ended up being free anyway. And I guess there was a discount or something. It was like $3.59, and then it was on sale for $1.74. And I had some credits to cover it. This movie was a 1931 movie, and it is about the excesses of tabloid journalism. It's directed by Mervyn LeRoy, stars Edward G. Robinson, Marion Marsh, Boris Karloff in one of his earlier movies. I mean, he did a bunch of movies before this, but kind of this was right before he broke. And the crazy thing is, so this came out in around September of 1931, and it was in, I think, November of 1931 that Frankenstein came out. And Boris Karloff is just a creepy dude, and he played kind of a creepy dude in this. And like all you can see is that like Frankenstein face. So it was kind of distracting. But, you know, when this came out for audiences, probably not because that hadn't come out yet. So this one, you know, I wasn't sure when this one started. There was another movie about newspapers. What was that called? The Front Page. That I ended up really liking. And this, in the end, I really like this one as well. It a bit depressing, but by the end, and I won't spoil why, but it was, you know, it had some funny moments. Edward G. Robinson was pretty good. He was kind of sarcastic and snarky, and several people were in it, and there were some funny moments with that. There's some sort of like one-liners that he had made me chuckle. But this was, I would say, aside from The Champ, which is also part of this Oscar year, this is the first movie where I actually really kind of felt some emotion by it. I think the acting was really good, and it was still, you know, that sort of over the top transatlantic accent, you know, shouting into the microphones, kind of acting for some of the time, but it was also, you know, pretty well done, and like I said, had some emotion to it. I was thinking about, you know, like at the beginning, they were all just like the newspaper men were all just shouting, and they were in that Front Page movie too. And when I started to think about it, I was like, I don't know if that's a thing about newspaper movies, that's what they think newspapers were like, or more likely, it may simply just be because the microphones at the time, like they may have had to actually kind of yell for the microphones to really pick up what they were saying. There were some quieter moments in this as well, but certainly at the beginning, it was a lot of yelling. This was Edward G. Robinson plays Joseph W. Randall. He's the managing editor of the New York Evening Gazette, which is a tabloid newspaper. And he's been trying to legitimize the paper by reducing the sort of sensationalist reporting that was typical of this newspaper. But their circulation is dropping because of it, and they need a story to bring that back up. So there was a story of a woman named Nancy Voorhees who was accused of murdering her husband years and years ago, and he reported on the story. Joseph Randall did. So he knows of the story, and she was acquitted. She got off of the charges and went on to have a child. And so they discover that she had the child, she remarried, and the daughter is now getting married. And she doesn't know who her mother was or what happened with her mother, or even that her father is not really her father. So they decide to print this story, a serial story, so meaning it's going to be over multiple issues about this Nancy Voorhees and where she is now, and just kind of raking her back through the mud. And so the movie is kind of about, you know, how the newspaper deals with that, especially Joseph Randall, Edward G. Robinson's character, because it's, even though he goes along with it, he sort of doesn't want to, and in the end really regrets it. But it's also about how it affects this family, this woman that's, has a daughter that's about to get married, and the man she's marrying, her husband, are his parents are kind of uppity. So, if they found out about it, they might call off the wedding, things like that. So, it was really good. It was really well done. It was short, which is always good. It was about 90 minutes. And I don't know, this one, like I said, The Champ had some emotion in it just with the father son stuff. But this one, in the end, it was like I had a few actual, like, what the fuck moments in this movie. And I called a couple things. I was like, is this about to happen? And I was kind of mad. And then it like, they were like, took it from that level, like up 3 notches to where I was like, holy fucking shit, is this really happening? And then I thought it was going to get even worse from there. And it didn't, but it still wasn't, nothing happy about it in the end. So, overall, just a really good movie and kind of fun in some ways, but also, like I said, depressing. So let me see. But really, it really is about, and the crazy thing I'm finding about a lot of these movies is that, they go over subjects that are still relevant nearly 100 years later, like the sensationalism of the newspaper. And obviously newspapers aren't as relevant right now, but news is, and, what to believe and what not to believe. And, they, in this, they were basically going to, make up some stuff about the woman and the family and everything. And, that kind of shit happens now too. So, this was based on a play I forgot to mention, but a few little wiki facts here. Oh, the 1930 play of the same name. Yeah. Title refers to the practice of newspapers publishing a series of editions throughout the day, with their final edition front page having 5 stars printed and the word final. 5-star final is also a font introduced during World War I and then favored by newspapers for its narrow type. Warner Brothers remade the film in 1936 as Two Against the World, also known as One Fatal Hour, starring Humphrey Bogart in Robinson's part, and set in a radio station instead of a newspaper. The film was nominated at the 5th Academy Awards for Best Picture, but lost to Grand Hotel. Newspaper publisher William Randolph Hearst was greatly offended by the film, which he interpreted as a thinly veiled attack on him and his operation. He retaliated by publishing negative reviews in his paper and pressuring theaters not to show the film. See, that kind of bullshit. But yeah, anyway, this one was pretty good. We've got a couple more before the best picture. And next 2 I have on DVD, so I kind of watch them at my leisure. And then on to the final one for this ceremony year. So that's all I got for this one. See you next time.